WaveParse is a set of Audacity plugins originally conceived with the idea that ACX compliance could and should be achieved only using gain. There should be no compressors or limiters. The workflow literally parses the audio track into 3 separate tracks, one containing only the peaks, one containing only the floor, and one containing the mid, meaning everything else. There are also powerful tools to detect anomalies that might otherwise be missed, noises in the environment, and artifacts introduced during edits. There are also analysis tools that provide for assistance, documentation, and quality control. Everything works on both monaural and stereo tracks. This video will first show the installation. That only takes moments, actually, as you'll see, and then provides a tour of the new WaveParse drop-down menus and an introduction to each plugin currently in the set that comprises 9 VST3 plugins written in C++ and another 30 and more with various functionality written in Nyquist. Let's get rid of these titles and install WaveParse. You already know how to download an installation zip file and extract its contents. In this case, the only thing you'll get is a new WaveParse folder in your Downloads folder. This new folder stays here forever. You can delete the zip file if you want. When you open the WaveParse folder, you will find 2 .vat files, one to install and one to uninstall. There are other things as well that you should examine. For example, the README files and the README folder. To proceed, right-click on the install batch file and run it as an administrator. It will open a terminal window, display its progress, and be done. It moves the Audacity files to their proper places and deletes Audacity's plugin configuration files, forcing a rescan and load of plugins when Audacity is next opened. Left-click in the terminal window and press Enter twice. When you open Audacity, you will briefly see its progress bar as it scans and loads the plugins and rebuilds its configuration files. I'll load an audio track so the menus won't be grayed out. WaveParse appears in 5 new drop-down menus under 4 main headers: Generate, Effect, Analyze, and Tools. Under Generate, the plugins make test tracks to demonstrate some of the procedures in WaveParse. Test A and Test C demonstrate the sensitivity of show splices. Test B shows operation at higher sample rates. Test D is an actual audio sample modified to demonstrate all aspects of the WaveParse workflow. The core functions of WaveParse, the VST3 plugins, appear under Effects. The first listed is Locate Floor, which identifies the floor sections of the track and builds a data file in the New Labels folder within the WaveParse folder. Next is Locate Peaks, which similarly identifies the peak sections of the audio track and creates its data file. These intermediate data files are needed because of the way Audacity passes audio data to the plugins. It is difficult to modify the track in the same pass as the analysis. The next 3 are the heart of the parsing that I described earlier. These are run on 3 copies of the source audio. Show Floor leaves only the floor in its track. Show Peaks leaves only the peaks in its track. And Show Mid leaves the body, the middle part that primarily determines the overall level. The idea is to adjust the gain of each of these 3 tracks individually as needed for its role in ACX compliance, and remix to a new track. All the cuts are made at 0 crossings, so the gain changes do not introduce artifacts, and there is no distortion as might be introduced by limiters or compressors. The next 2, Show Splices and Show Zeros, are the core of the track cleanup power. Show Splices runs on a copy of the source track and leaves an indicator track pointing to anomalies in the audio. These are created by noise and can be created by even the most careful editing. The algorithm is remarkably free of false negatives and suffers false positives only in sibilance. Show Zeros runs on a copy of the source track and leaves an indicator track pointing to sections which have values so low they can't qualify as audio. These result from positioning edits in the source track and are sometimes inserted by automatic leveling or a need to place keep alive data. None of these portions should be in a quality audio production unless there is good reason. Low-level portions are not desirable and are flagged, for example, by ACX check. The last two plugins are basically for inspection. Wave AD Audit prepares 2 tracks for an in-ear comparison in real time. WaveStats precisely characterizes the track and makes Excel-compatible CSV files that provide guidance in the workflow, serve as documentation, and enable quality control. There is an overall summary, akin to ACX check, but with additional categories. For example, a histogram of peak levels. There are per-section profiles of floor, peak, and mid-sections, and there are level profiles of the entire audio track at 100 and 400 millisecond resolution. The Analyze plugins don't modify audio. They generate label tracks from the data files created earlier by each of the core functions. These labels provide for quick inspection of the resulting tracks, because in Audacity, the Alt plus right arrow key and Alt plus left arrow key step from label to label. In the case of show splices and show zeros, these labels directly indicate places in the audio track that need repair, or at least need judgment about whether the anomaly can be tolerated. In the case of tag floor noise, pairs of labels frame the portion that needs correction by gain or by snipping. There are 2 WaveParse submenus under Tools. The one of greatest importance contains necessary utilities. Clear Labels empties the data files made by the core functions. The generation of labels can be enabled or disabled. Most of the plugins under Analyze make log entries, and Log Comments permits manual log entries. Offload Log renames the log file with a timestamp and gives you a clean start with an empty log file. The Locate Peaks plugin has a vernier slider in 0.1 dB steps. This can be hidden if not needed. Similarly, each control pop-up contains several lines of helpful text. After you become well-versed in the workflow, use the UI Text Hide plugin to omit them. The About WaveParse submenu accesses short descriptions of various WaveParse features, providing a brief equivalent of a manual. The planned list is not completed yet, but you see the progress. The first of these is typical of all as to presentation. That ends the tour. Other WaveParse videos will detail various workflows to provide expertise in the use of this powerful tool that enables the perfecting of the audio track, both in the elimination of anomalies, the cleanup, and the manufacture of an ACX-compatible final product. Please note this advice, first given in the introductory video. I want to be clear that WaveParse is a tool and has a learning curve and best practices. If misused, it can have bad results. And, as with any procedure, there's the silk purse proverb, it's always better to start with a reasonably well-done recording. Thanks for watching. The description below explains how to download WaveParse.